Hi everyone, my name is Katrina and this is Katrina's Book Bag. Now I know you're wondering, what is Katrina's Book Bag? Well, as an educator and a mom, I decided to come up with this blogcast, if you will, entitled Katrina's Book Bag, where I will be sharing some of the great books that I love to read, some great things that I just come across, whether they be for my students or just things that I'm sharing with my own children, hoping that we can continue to encourage literacy. We can teach a little bit of history, teach about ourselves as African Americans or any race, as well as just sharing our love of reading with our children. All right, so let's get right into it. The first book that I want to share kind of goes with the movie Selma. I know many of you wanted to take your younger children to see Selma, but felt that maybe some of the content in the movie or maybe some of the violence that was in the movie was just a wee bit too much for them. However, the same concepts, the same premise of the movie, you can share with your child, and you can share it with a book. So here's the book. The book is entitled Child of the Civil Rights Movement, and the book is by Paula Young Shelton. Now, Paula Young Shelton is the daughter of Andrew Young, and Andrew Young was a part of the Southern Leadership Conference. He worked very much with Dr. Martin Luther King and other civil rights leaders during this time period. He was also a former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. So, with that being said, let's talk about the book. This is an awesome book. The book is told from the perspective of the child being Paula Young, and it kind of gives you an idea of what she was experiencing and what she was feeling during this time in history. It's a very good book because a lot of our children already know about Dr. Martin Luther King. However, they don't know about some of the activists and civil rights activists that worked alongside of him as a part of this movement. We also see him in a very powerful role, but from the perspective of this child, we begin to see Dr. King in a fun and playful role as he goes swimming with her, and she calls him Uncle Martin, and then she shares her insight as a child and how they went to a restaurant one time and they were denied access or denied interest into the restaurant, and how she fell out and she screamed and hollered and she felt as though that was her first moment actively protesting and speaking out against injustice. And then the book carries on and it takes us through the whole voters' rights concerns and the issues that they were facing and how the march to Selma began. She actually takes a part in the march, though she doesn't finish it. And basically, this is an awesome book to help kids see and learn some history, but more so to see that you don't have to be an adult to make a difference. Even children can play an active part in what we do here in society. All right, here we go again. The book is Child of the Civil Rights Movement. Hope you enjoy. On to book number 2. Book number 2 is a book that I came across last year. It is called Ruth and the Green Book. Now, as an educator, I've taught my children about Dr. Martin Luther King. They've learned a little bit about the civil rights movement. I remember learning many of those things growing up, but I never heard about the Green Book. Well, let me tell you about the Green Book. The Green Book was created by a gentleman by the name of Victor Green. And Victor Green decided that as he was traveling back and forth from New York City during this time, that there were many places that denied access to African Americans, whether it was a restaurant, whether it was a gas station, whether it was somewhere that they were trying to stay, they were not allowed entrance into those places. So where was someone to go? Where were they to eat? Where were they to sleep? Well, there were many others along the journey who opened their doors, who would cook you a home-cooked meal if you were traveling. So he came up with this Green Book, which was kind of maybe like a secret book for African Americans to let you know where it was safe or where the safe places, if you will, were to go as you traveled. So in 1936, he came up with this book to help black travelers called the Green Book. It was a list of hotels, restaurants, businesses that would serve African Americans during that time. Now, I also found out that there was a particular gas station called the Esso station. I hope that I am pronouncing that right. But in 1940, a black-owned business at the Esso station was actually willing to sell this Green Book. They sold it for a small fee, and eventually the book encompassed so many places that you could go between the United States, Bermuda, Mexico, and even Canada. And the price went up to 75 cents at that time, and there were 80 pages of information. So, learn something new about history, something that even some of you as parents have probably never heard about. It's Ruth and the Green Book, a great book to read. And again, this book is by Calvin Alexander Ramsey. All right, final book. This final book is by a fellow bison. Her name is Lori Nelson, and Lori's book is called Hillary's Big Business Adventure. This book takes place here in Baltimore. The main character, Hillary, is a young lady from Baltimore. She's a fifth grader. And in this book, Hillary wants a new bike. So what do you do, kids, when you want something new? You just ask mommy and daddy? I guess you could, but what if you're denied? You got to come up with an action plan. So this book talks about how Hillary and her brother, as well as some of her friends, come up with this big business plan to earn some money for the things that they want. It's a great opportunity to teach your children about financial literacy, about the benefits of saving, whether you give them an allowance or someone gives them some money for a birthday, Christmas, etc., and how they can use that money to maybe buy some of the things that they want, or to save it to eventually have the money or the funds to get those things. Also gives way to great lessons and opportunities on banking and placing some of your money in the bank. And of course, there's a happy ending. By the end of the book, Hillary, who wants a new bike, has enough funds to earn one. So find out, what did they do to earn the money? How much money did they actually make? So you can read Hillary's Big Business Adventure by Lori Nelson, fellow Howard University Bison. All right, so you have 3 books from Katrina's Book Bag. Jump right in with your kids. Enjoy reading. This month is Black History Month, though I think that we should be celebrating the achievements of all cultures each and every day. I will embrace the fact that this is Black History Month, and all of these authors are African American authors, and many of the characters in here are faces that your kids will be familiar with if you happen to be African American, and if not, they are just great books that teach awesome lessons and history. So happy reading. Katrina's Book Bag will be back with more books, more exciting things. Until then, enjoy reading with your kids. And again, 3 awesome books: Hillary's Big Business Adventure, Ruth and the Green Book, and don't forget, Child of the Civil Rights Movement. Bye-bye.